Today is not about a movie, a fountain, or a ceremony. As important as these reminders are, it is instead about 75 sons and daughters of Marshall University who were taken from us 42 years ago today. It's about 75 families who are still affected by this tragedy, and thousands of members of a university, a city, and a state who were devastated by this loss. My personal understanding of this day has evolved a great deal since I started here 4 years ago. Although I recognize its magnitude, I did not discover the true sense of family that connects us all until having the privilege of serving the university in an official capacity. I've never been more proud to represent the student body as I have been in the past 24 hours, after seeing the unbelievable amount of public remembrances of the victims and their families by our students through social media and other outlets.
On behalf of the alumni, I stand here today as we reflect, renew, and refresh our spirits in remembering our loss and heaven's gain on November 14, 1970. 42 years ago, I was a junior on this campus, and even though our words will never completely heal our hearts, we know that God has been with us every step of the way. We see it through the resurgence of our community. We feel it in the pride we have for our university, and we know it through the wisdom we have gained through the seasons of our lives. This divine intervention that each of us feels is ever present, and it will continue to guide, direct, and sustain us in times of sorrow. Thomas Chalmers said it best: "There's not a tint that paints the rose, or decks the lily fair, or marks the humblest flower that grows, but God has placed it there. There's not a place on earth's vast round, in ocean's deep or air, where love and beauty are not found, for God is everywhere." At this time, we remember and will never forget the sons and daughters of Marshall University. Thank you.
Marshall football will always be played to honor those that we lost on November 14th, 1970. Even through great disappointment and discouragement, we always play with honor. We will always go out each week, and win or lose, play to honor those we lost. We play to honor Marcella Louderman. We play to honor Teddy Shoebridge. We play to honor the Hagleys, the Proctors, the Wards, and so many others that were lost that day. We play to honor Coach Rick Tolley. I and every other Marshall coach that has ever been here coaches this team to honor Coach Tolley and that entire staff. No matter what happens, that must never change. I have said it before, and I'll say it again: it's an honor and privilege to be the head football coach at Marshall University.
Today's a day I always look forward to, November 14th. I will never forget what happened 42 years ago. I can remember where I was 13 years old, what I was doing, who I was with, when I saw on our black and white TV the information scrolled across the bottom that a plane carrying the Marshall football team had crashed, landing in Huntington. That's been with me my whole life, from the time I stepped foot on this campus in 1975 until the day I came back, so fortunate to come back in 2009. As I stand here today, as I think most of us, I'm really sad, but I'm inspired. I'm honored. I'm honored to be your athletic director. I'm honored to come back to my alma mater and work with so many good people. But I'm also humbled as I stand here today. When this day approaches every year, I'm nervous, but I'm energetic. I feel energy today. And when I meet and see so many people that come back every year that were a part of this tragedy, it energizes me. And I go back to my office and my staff and our coaches and our athletes, and we go back and we want to work hard because we want to make those 75 wonderful people proud of their university.
In my opinion, the worst tragedy to befall us would be to forget what happened on this day in this community at this university 42 years ago. And therefore, it's incumbent upon all of us, those of us who are new to the university, to learn the stories, those of us who are long-timers to share the stories of all of the things that preceded and succeeded November 14th, 1970. In sharing those stories, we remember the people. And as Ray said, it's the people who perished far too early in their lives that we should remember. The tragedy shaped and galvanized this community in ways that we're not entirely aware of. But it's also important to recognize that while it's very deep-seated in our psyche and our hearts, we're not the only ones who have stories to tell and whose lives were imprinted deeply by this tragedy. I don't think I've gone to anywhere in this country where I've met people that someone didn't have a story to tell about the impact that this tragedy had on them or their families or their relatives. And there's a bond that is very deep and very broad that connects so many other people to us. So this is not just a Huntington Marshall University story. Well, it began here and unfortunately ended here. It lives on in the hearts and minds of people all over this country and all over the world.
For 30 years, my family spoke very little of that November day in 1970. It was just too painful to think about that terrible day. I reunited with Tommy Shubich, Teddy Shubich's younger brother, and he kept telling me to go to Marshall and speak to the nice people in Huntington. They have lived with the same pain. After fighting it for so long, I decided to come to Huntington for the premiere of the documentary Ashes to Glory that was held at the Keith Albee Theater. A documentary by Deborah Novak and Joe Wittick about the Marshall University crash and how the football program was rebuilt. My brothers not wanting to come with me, I decided to drive the 9-hour trip by myself. I just had to go and be close to our brother and walk where he once walked. I was full of excitement and anticipation once I arrived in Huntington. All I could see were green and white flags and the Go Thundering herd hanging from all the homes. I remember my eyes filling with tears, knowing that I was driving where Marcelo had been. I met many friends and players that never made it on the plane. Also met Nate Ruffin and others, and loved hearing all the stories that they had about Marcelo. So many people came up to me with different stories about our brother and how everyone was so amazed at his kicking and punting skills. I just couldn't believe the love that I felt being here. While driving back to New Jersey, I called my brothers and told them what a great experience I had. The people were all kind, and I was reminded of the 75 lives lost wherever I went. Once I arrived home, I called my both brothers and told them that the next trip we will take together. In 2006, my brothers and I were invited to the premiere of We Are Marshall. With some apprehension, we accepted, and we all came to Huntington to watch the movie together. While watching the movie, we cried for 2 hours, but it brought us closer to the community and our brother. The love and respect that the Marshall family showed us during that weekend was the turning point for our family. We accepted Marshall as our own. We wanted to give back to the school and provide a lasting legacy in Marcello's name. On the trip back, my brothers and I came up with the idea of setting up an endowment in Marcello's name. For the past 6 years, we have held a golf outing in New Jersey to raise the capital for the endowment. In 2010, we met our goal and we presented the check to Marshall Foundation at the 40th anniversary of the crash for $23,000. That being said, the number 23 was Marcello's number, and that is the significance of the 23,000. From ashes to glory, we finally arrived home in Huntington, where we had a chance to meet some great, wonderful people. We are gathered here today to honor all the victims of that tragic accident. As long as my brothers and I live, we will never forget, and hopefully this generation and future students will learn about the great young players, coaches, and parents of that tragic day. Finally, enjoy life, make every day count, love God and your family, and love Marshall University. My brothers and I learned to love all you here in Huntington, and will continue to support the school with all our hearts. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you and tell you my story. We are Marshall. Thank you.
Larry Brown.
Marcello H. Latterman. Richard Adam Leck. Arthur W. Harris. Robert Anthony Harris. Bobby Wayne Hill.